Thank you for joining me. This is Maggie, and I'll be leading you through a practice on your mat today from my home to your home. And I do have my kiddos home with me today, so they are downstairs awake with animal crackers and a show, so they may or may not come and interrupt, but if you're watching this video, the interruptions weren't too severe or I wouldn't have posted it. So with that said, let's get started. Find a nice comfortable seat. I've chosen easy pose, but you can certainly kneel if that's more comfortable. Find a seat that you can grow a nice tall spine out of, being careful not to overcorrect our posture by puffing the chest out. Just a nice long, straight, neutral spine. Maybe a gentle tuck down with the chin just to feel the length in the back of the neck as well. Bring the hands to the knees or thighs if you're kneeling. You can choose a mudra if you'd like, or just rest the hands on your knees and start to take some deep breaths. Dropping that breath down low into your belly first, letting it travel up through your rib cage, up into the chest, and then even one last little sip into the back of your throat before releasing it. Deep, full, intentional breaths. Preparing our body for mindful movement. Preparing our mind for focus, discipline, integrity in each pose. Take two more. One more. Open your eyes. Take in your space. You're not in a studio, or likely not in a studio. In your home, in your bedroom, your living room, kitchen, I don't know. Take it in for all its imperfections and focus on acceptance of that space. And bring yourself in. Your space is this rectangle around you, this mat that you've laid down for yourself. And even if you don't have a mat, it's that floor immediately surrounding you. It's nothing else, not the walls, not the ceiling, not the mess over in the corner. So bring yourself into your corner, into your body. And we'll start to move through some seated cat-cows here. So we're going to bring our hands up by our shoulders. When we inhale, we're going to open up our chest, pull the shoulder blades together, squeezing, and exhale, we're going to push the arms out, round the spine, pull the shoulder blades apart, and inhale, come back, squeezing them together, sort of like swimming with our arms. Exhale, push out, round the spine. Inhale, come forward. Open up the chest, gaze goes just slightly up. Exhale, push forward. One more of those, really articulating your spine with your breath. Come to neutral. We're going to twist here, so reach tall, find the length first. And on an exhale, drop the right hand behind you, left hand to the right knee or thigh if you're kneeling. And twist yourself around. Use that grip for some leverage. Stay in your twist for one breath, in and out. Next inhale, wrap yourself back up tall. And twisting left. Spine nice and tall, so we're not leaning back on that hand. Stay for a breath, in and out. And come back. We're going to lay slowly onto our backs from here. So if you were kneeling, go ahead and get on your bum and roll yourself back. Take a nice easy bend in your knees. Walk the feet wide on the mat. We're going to just start by connecting our breath to some more movement, hips down instead of our upper body. So breathe in here. On your exhale, let the knees drop right. Breathe into center. Let the knees drop left on your exhale. Follow your own breath. Do it a couple more times on each side. Noticing any catches or stiffness in your hips. Viewing these early movements as sort of an investigation of your body to see where you're at today. What do you have to work with? Come to stillness in the center. Walk those feet back so they're about hip distance apart. Bring them a little bit close to your sit bones, but it doesn't need to be drastic just yet. Palms down by your side. Activate the arms pressing down. Activate your belly, drawing that belly button in. Press your lower back down. And keep that engagement as you lift into bridge with your next inhale. Breathing in, lift up. Imagine length in your spine, pulling that tailbone forward. Not just looking for height in the hips. Try to soften your back body. Soften the glutes and the hamstrings and let your front body pull yourself up. And then come up on your toes. Time to activate the back body. Glutes and hamstrings pushing up. Watch your belly rise and fall. One more breath in and out. And breathe in, come up a little bit higher. And breathe out, release the posture. Rolling yourself back down. Bring the thighs and knees into the chest, rock side to side. And come back into a bridge. So plant the feet, hip distance again. And on an in-breath, find your second bridge. You're going to lift the toes up off the mat here. Try to come completely onto your heels. You're going to target the hamstrings. So breathe in here. And on your exhale, walk on your heels to the edge of your mat. Try to keep that lift in your hips. Getting all the way to straight legs if you can. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Next in-breath, walk the heels back into your bridge. You can do that one more time. Breathing in, breathing out, walk the heels out. Front of your mat. Keep the lift as much as you can. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, walk them back. And breathe in your bridge. And release the posture. Bring the knees in, counter pose, round out the spine, rub the hamstrings. That's a really weird way of targeting them. I know I felt that in kind of a crampy way the first time I did that. Bring your hands to the backs of your thighs. We're going to rock and roll front to back a few times. No need to rock super far back. Just gently massaging the spine vertically. Do one more of those, and on your way up, cross the shins, hands down. Find your tabletop. I'm going to walk myself back a little bit. Nice neutral table, wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Draw the belly button up a little bit so you're not sagging your belly down. Nice long, flat, neutral spine. And then we're going to move through some cat-cows. So dropping the belly, bring the gaze forward, opening the chest, cow. Exhale, round the spine, push the breath out, squeeze. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more. neutral spine. Move into an extended table. So right arm, palms up, and then add the left leg, press out through the heel. Keep that spine nice and neutral and long. Check in with the left shoulder, that you're not sinking down into that. Keep actively pressing away from the mat. Breathe in, and on an exhale, open up the arm and the leg to the side, controlling it, moving slowly. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, move out to the side. One more of those. Inhale, center. Exhale, open to the side. And come back to center. Stay here, or you have the option to bend that back leg, reach back for a bind on the toes or ankle, and press up. One-legged tiger. Soften the right shoulder. Let it be pulled back. And release back to your table. Switching sides, that left wrist gets a break. Send it out in front of you, thumb up, add the right leg. Find the length, find the straight line first. Not looking for a high leg here, just looking for length. Breathe in. Exhale, arm and leg, come out to the side. Breathe into center. Breathe out, open. Breathe in, center. One more. Breathe out, open. Breathe into center. Stay here or take that bind. Worth trying on both sides anyways. Try to find the softness in that right hip and the left shoulder so that you can press that bind up and away from you. Find the stretch. And come back to table. Keep our hips high, stacked above our knees. Walk the hands out. Bring the forehead down for puppy pose. Want to keep those arms nice and active, reaching. If you have more to give here in your underarms, you can bring the chin down. Take a little bit more of a dip in your back. And walk your hands back into your table. From table, let's step our right foot forward in between our hands. Come up tall, so you want that left hip stacked over the knee, right knee stacked over the ankle. Maybe tuck the toes behind you. We're moving into half camel, so we're going to be back bending. So maybe start here, and then you can flatten that foot down if you have a bendier back than you thought you did. So inhale, grow tall. And on an exhale, the left hand reaches back, finds the heel. Push the hips forward, open the chest towards the ceiling, melting into a lengthening back bend. Should be zero twinging or crunching in the lower back. One more breath, in and out. Activate the abs, come up, fingertips down, send the right foot back, and we'll switch sides. Left foot forward, check your angles after you come up, that you've got those nice 90-degree angles. And then inhale, grow tall. Exhale, right hand reaches back, find the heel, open the chest, push the hips forward. I like to keep my neck controlled in this pose with my gaze sort of up and forward. But if it's comfortable for you to drop your head all the way back, you can go ahead and do that. And activate the abs, come up, fingertips down, step back to your table. It might be wise to move through a cat-cow here after bending. And come to neutral. Tuck our toes here. We're going to start to work into our core and our legs a little bit more. So tuck the toes, lift and hover the knees, just like an inch or two above the mat. Still looking for a nice tabletop, straight, flat spine. And then extend the right leg behind you. Left knee is still hovering. We're going to pump that right leg up 10 times. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the right toes down, right knee hovering. Extend the left leg behind you, pressing out through the heel and pumping for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left toes down, both knees still hovering. Hold this. Separate the shoulder blades. Press the mat away from you. Take the weight out of your wrist. Grip the mat with your fingers. And send the hips high. Downward facing dog, first one. So pedal out that first downward dog, pressing each heel into the mat one at a time, waking up the backs of our legs. And then find stillness. Nice high hips, heels actively pressing back for the mat, but you don't need to have your heels touching the mat. You can have a bend in your knees. You can be up on your toes. It all just depends on how open the backs of your legs are. Check in with your knees. Make sure they're not caving in on each other. Nice parallel shins, knees, thighs. On your next in-breath, bring your gaze forward. Step or jump to the top of your mat, right to a halfway lift. And fold. Come all the way up, extended mountain, reaching for the sky, and exhaling our hands to heart center. Let's move through a couple sun A's. So inhaling to reach, gaze and fingertips go up. Exhale, fold. Halfway up. Plant the hands, step back, lower, either all the way to your mat or chaturanga. Inhale for baby cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take one breath in and out. Next breath in, step or jump forward. Halfway lift, nice tabletop back. Exhale, fold. Come all the way up. Press down through the feet, reach to the sky, and hands to heart center. One more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway up. Plant the hands, step back, lower. Open up the chest. And meeting in down dog. One breath in and out. Next in-breath, step or jump forward, halfway up, fold, come all the way up again, extended mountain, and hands to heart center. From the top of our mat, we're going to step back, big step back with our right leg. We're going to find a hovering low lunge. So first, shifting the weight to the left leg, we're going to reach back, land as lightly as you can on the right toes, and then bend that knee so it's just hovering above the mat. You can adjust your stance a little bit once you get there. I had to. Make sure that that left knee is above the ankle. And then you want to activate everything. So glutes are working, quads, hamstrings, calves, ankles and toes, everything, hips down is working hard to distribute the effort of this hovering lunge. Stay here. Maybe you bounce. Maybe you find stillness. 3 more breaths. Should be feeling it. Don't give in. 1 more breath. and step forward. Release, wiggle out the legs. We're going to switch sides. So bringing the weight into that right leg, reaching back with the left, landing lightly, hovering down. Find the gait in your feet that is right for your alignment, and then stay. We're breathing, we're activating everything, so our quads don't do all the work. Only 2 more breaths now. 1 more breath. And release, step forward, wiggle it out. We're going to do that same thing, but we're going to add a kick after we've stepped back. So a little bit of balancing work, a little bit more release with that leg when we kick out. So let's start with the right foot, stepping back, landing lightly, find the hovering lunge, and then come up, kick out. Do 4 more. Step back, lower, come up and kick. Step back, land lightly, lower, come up, kick. 2 more. Step back, hover, come up and kick. You can control that kick or you can snap it out. Your choice. Last kick. Okay, wiggle it out. We'll do 5 on the other side. So stepping back, left foot, toes land lightly. Whew. And the knee down and kick out. 4 more. Definitely a challenge to the balance, especially since we've got movement, a little bit of a kick, snapping kick. Last one. And come back to standing. All right. Let's make our way into down dog, taking a little flow to get there. So inhale, reach tall. Exhale, fold. Halfway up. Plant the hands, step back, lower down. Inhale to fill up, drop the shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, down dog. Take a couple breaths here. You can sigh them out. I enjoy sighing out in down dog. And on your next in-breath, let's send the right leg up high. Exhale, step it forward between your hands. Left knee comes down. Swoop your arms up. We're in low lunge. Find the integrity of this posture, which means you're not allowing the hips to sag forward here. Keeping a nice parallel thigh with your mat. Breathe in, look up. Make a prayer, twisting to the right. Bring the left elbow down to the right knee for leverage. Use that leverage to really crank into that twist. And keep pushing your breath into your belly, even though it's all twisted. Breathe into that resistance. Keep the twist happening in your core, but bring your torso up, extend the arms. Gaze goes behind you, over your right fingertips. Bring the back of your right hand to your left hip. Turn the torso forward, and on an in-breath, back bending, lifting the chest, lengthening as we bend. Exhale, fingertips down. Breathe in. Exhale, hips back, straighten the right leg, kick the toes up for half split. So even though it might feel really good to round the spine, try to fold a little bit deeper. Try to keep a nice flat back here. Pulling yourself down with your chest to deepen it. Activating that right foot to deepen it. And on your next in-breath, walk yourself forward. Tuck the toes in the back, straighten that leg, rise into crescent lunge. Come up high on those back toes, heel is lifted vertically up off the mat. Breathe in, look up. Breathe out, twist left again. This one's a little trickier for the balance. See if you can complete the twist, bringing your gaze behind you. Imagine squeezing your thighs together even though they're not touching. Next breath in, we're going to untwist, bringing ourselves back to center and continue opening up into warrior two. To the left. Back foot parallel to the back of your mat. Pull that right knee back so it's tracking over your pinky toe. And find the softness in this posture. Warrior postures are strong postures. There's a lot going on. Arms, core, legs. So where can you find softness? On your next breath in, reverse the warrior. Breathe out into side angle. Same thing, 2 more times. Breathe in, reverse. Breathe out, side angle. Breathe in, reverse. Hinging at the hips. Breathe out, side angle. Breathe into your warrior two. Breathe out to cartwheel the hands down to frame the hips. Step that right foot back and take a flow down to the mat or chaturanga, into your back bend, and leaving in down dog. Take a couple of those loud breaths here, breathing in your nose, dumping it out your mouth. One more. Let's do the left side. Inhale the left leg up high, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it up. Right knee comes down, swoop your arms up for low lunge. Again, find that integrity with your hips lifting, activating that left leg. And breathe in, look up. Breathe out, make a prayer, twisting to the left, right elbow, using that for leverage. It's a challenge to breathe deeply in twists. So keep trying to push that air in, find the space. Lift up the torso, keep the twist, extend the arms, gaze going behind you. And then bring the back of your left hand to your right hip. Turn the torso forward. Inhale slowly for a back bend. And come down, fingertips framing the foot. Breathe in. Breathe out, rock the hips back, half splits. Activating that left foot as much as you can. Remember the nice flat spine. Doesn't feel as cool, but it's way better alignment and better for flexibility gains as well. Next, inhale, walk yourself forward. Tuck the toes, straighten the leg, crescent lunge. Activate both glutes here. So even that right one, don't let the left leg do all the work. Breathe in, look up. Breathe out, twisting left. Right arm forward, left arm back. And next breath in, come back to center, keep opening right. Boom, warrior two. Check your alignment. Back foot is firmly pressing down parallel with your back mat. Left knee tracking over the pinky toes so it's not caving in. Grow this pose from the bottom of your feet up. Gazes forward over the fingertips. And on your next breath in, let's reverse. Breathe out, side angle. Breathe in, reverse. Breathe out, side angle. One more, following your breath. Reversing, side, back bend, and side angle. Inhale up to your warrior two. And exhale, cartwheel the hands down, free in the foot. Send that leg back. Take a flow, or skip the flow if you want, meeting in down dog. Let's take a child's pose for our shoulders, for our legs. Knees wide, toes to touch, sink the hips back, forehead down. You can drop the forearms if you want onto the mat. You can also take a bend at the elbows, walk the elbows forward, and make a prayer behind your head. Let your belly hang heavily between your legs. The breath will naturally dump there in this posture. Zero restrictions. So allow your breath to slow, your heart rate to slow. And let's reach our arms long in front of us, forearms down. Hello, honey. Hi. And pull yourself forward onto your forearms. Start taking your knees even wider than they were in child's pose, and then begin to separate the feet. And we have frog. Use that leverage that you have in your forearms to push the hips back. It's a very difficult pose to find softness in. Thank you, honey. So notice what parts of your inner thigh, your glutes are resisting in this posture. And try to soften, making tiny little centimeters, millimeters of progress, sinking deeper. Letting gravity and time and breath deepen this pose. And then to release, bring the toes back to touch. Move the knees back under your hips. Thank you, honey. Thank you. I'm going to set them right here. Okay. And we're going to move into a forearm plank. So keeping the forearms down and parallel, step the toes back. Let the hips drop so that they are in line with the rest of your body. So core is working so that our hips don't sag and we don't stick our booty up. So nice, long, straight line. And we're going to move into a side forearm plank. So rolling first onto the blade side of our left foot, open up the right hand to the ceiling. You can totally take your left knee down here. You can keep the feet stacked, or for extra challenge, you can lift that right leg up. If you feel twitching, wobbling, shaking in your back, that's good. It's building muscle. One more breath. And turn back onto your toes, forearm plank, switching sides, rolling onto the right side of our foot, opening the left arm. Keep the hips nice and lifted here, and then decide what level of challenge you want on this side. If you're comfortable in not wobbling, you probably need to go up a level. And come back down, forearm plank. One more breath in. And on your breath out, drop the hips down, thighs down, Sphinx pose. So a nice supported back bend, lifting the chest here. Imagining the crown of your head as an extension of your spine. Finding as much length as you can. And on your next out breath, go ahead and drop the head, lengthening the back of the neck. Noticing which one you like better. You can stay here or go back to head lifted. From the Sphinx, we're going to move into a restorative half frog, I think. So sliding that knee, right knee up and out to the side, activate that right foot. I'm going to straighten the right arm just so we can thread the left one underneath. Rest the shoulder down and open up into your twist. That right arm is probably just going to be hanging out in space. So you can stay there, let gravity pull on that arm and that shoulder, or if that's uncomfortable, you can rest your hand on the small of your back. This is a deceptive pose. Restorative it's called, but check in, especially with that supporting leg on the bottom, the left leg. Notice what muscles are trying to work that don't need to be working. Probably your left glute, left thigh. So begin body scanning, trying to release tension and effort where there doesn't need to be any. Untwist yourself, bring that right hand back to the mat, pushing yourself up into that Sphinx, sending the right leg back, both hips making contact with your mat again, and then we'll switch sides, bringing the left knee up and out to the side, activate the foot, straighten the left arm, and thread the right one underneath. Once you've opened up into your twist, begin body scanning, seeking out tension, and using your exhale to soften and release. And then you can either untwist yourself, bringing that arm back, or you can just continue rolling onto your back. Resituate yourself onto your mat if you have one. And we're going to bring the knees in. Wrap your arms, your forearms around, rock side to side. I'm almost done, pumpkins. We're going to switch our legs around for a sort of hip opening stretch. Girlies, I'm making a yoga video. Can you come over here? Thank you. Okay. So we're going to cross our left thigh over right thigh and then hug the knees in just like we were. Girls? Come over here, I'm almost done, and then you can play with the camera, okay? You can grab your knees or the shins if those are accessible. I mean, even that's accessible, you can grab the feet for sort of reclined cow face pose. So it's a great posture to do in bed. Just kick the covers off in the morning, especially if you're a side sleeper. This is a great pose for relieving sciatic pain, for getting rid of those twinges you might feel on the outside edges of your hip when you wake up. I'm going to switch sides, crossing right thigh over left thigh. Bring the knee in first, and then decide if you can grab the shins or the feet. Should definitely be feeling the pull in your right glute, outside of your hip. I can tell by the chocolate on the outside of my youngest lips that they've found something during this yoga session that they shouldn't have found. Release. Hug the knees in nice and square, pull them in. And then extend the left leg long onto your mat. Hug just the right knee in. Take a deep breath, breathing into your thigh. And on your exhale, guide that leg across your body. The right arm extends, gaze completes the twist by going right. Switch sides, come back to center, extend that right leg, hug the left knee in. And on your exhale, guide yourself into your supine twist, sending your gaze left. Usually whenever we twist, our gaze completes it. And then untwist yourself. Make your way into corpse pose. Rolling the shoulders underneath you, taking up space on your mat, maybe coming off your mat. Palms turned up, shut down the eyes. For these online videos, I'm not going to stay here with you and determine how long your Shavasana is, so I'll let you determine that. But I encourage you always to not skip it, to take even 30 seconds of stillness to complete your practice. So I'll leave you here for as long as you would like. Thank you again for joining me. Namaste.